G'day everyone, I'm AzureBlaze, and the day that this video comes out will hopefully be the year anniversary of the release of Sonic Superstars. I say hopefully because if it doesn't come out on that day, it might come out a little bit later because I simply haven't finished the video yet. However, I have been wanting to put this video out since I first finished the game back in July or something like that in my Let's Play, and seeing that as the year anniversary, I thought this would be the perfect time to finally get the video out. Despite the fact that, I guess, first off, I would like to mention that I did not end up 100%ing the game like I really wanted to before putting this video out. I have, I believe, 5 achievements remaining during the recording of this video, sort of, to get, and hopefully I'll get them soon. However, I don't think they'll really impact my, final thoughts of the game. And I guess putting my final thoughts about this game out pretty early, I think it's quite good. Not to the same level as the original classic Sonic games or Mania, however well above the 2 Sonic 4 games. I shall start with the art style of the game, however. It is a big departure from the sprite work present in Mania, which I personally would have preferred. It ends up using 3D models in a 2.5D plane, similar to that of the classic Sonic stages in Generations, or in the other end of the spectrum, Sonic 4. However, in comparison to Sonic 4, I personally feel that this game looks much better than it. The models look clean, the colours pop quite nicely, and the backgrounds are pretty vibrant overall. In comparison to Generations, it looks more cartoonish and stylized, which I feel fits quite well. I personally like it a lot. The animations are done quite well as well. They are very bouncy, with plenty of squash and stretch, anticipation and follow through that fits with the art style quite well, as that simply works in my opinion. Sadly though, I feel this style could have been taken a little bit further. A lot of the levels have fairly standard settings, and I think this style could really fit with some more unique ones. The standard settings do make the more unique stages stand out a lot more. However, I think at least in my opinion, they could have done a lot more with all the stages, opposed to back ending the game with a lot of the stages that are pretty unique. Another thing this game does not really feel as if fully utilizes fully is the 2.5D perspective. It doesn't get to its full potential. Something that I like in Generations is how the camera would sort of move around classic Sonic a little bit, not fully move around him. However, in some certain sections, it'll move sort of to give I guess a better sense of scale about the places that are being traversed by classic Sonic. Yeah, I don't know. It's something that's a little bit missing. And the most I can think of this game sort of incorporates that is by putting bosses in the background in some areas, or some of Sonic's abilities that allows him to travel on different planes, like the water one. I don't know. It's always on that flat 2D look though. It's just not moving the camera or anything like that. Therefore, yeah, I don't know. So, something that I feel could have been done to make it a little bit more, I guess, even more expressive. Is probably the best way to put it. However, moving on from the art style, the music. I think it's pretty good overall. There are some that are a little bit strange. However, I do like the rest of the soundtrack overall. I think that it's really good. I think Speed Jungle and I believe it's Lagoon City, Act 1, both of their Act 1s. I really like those. They're really good soundtracks, songs, music, that stuff, yeah. When discussing the gameplay, everything feels sort of as expected from a classic Sonic style of game. I think it's a lot better physics-wise than Forces or stuff like that. It feels sort of in between Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania, and I think that's a pretty good place. The physics work well, and all the characters have their specific gameplay differences. Yeah, I think it simply works nice. Speaking about the characters, there are 4 initial characters and 1 unlockable one. You can change characters before playing. Yeah, this is pretty simple. Each character has their previously established abilities, with Amy's carrying over from Origins, which I think is pretty neat. The new character is Trip, and she is a little dragon lizard thing. I think she might be a lizard to start with, and then when she goes super, she becomes, I don't know, a dragon. She's super shy and everything like that. She's amazing, honestly. Her main moveset is the Sonic Colors Spike. Basically, her whole moveset is basically Spike from Sonic Colors, and I don't know. I think her character's super great, and as I said, she goes into a super dragon form when she goes super, and I think she fits in with the classic crew quite fine, and I hope she stays there overall because she's amazing. I think she's the best new character in a long time. However, when it comes to super forms, like I was speaking about, the Chaos Emeralds have returned to get the super forms anyway. However, something new to this game is getting new powers from each of them. And whilst I find some of the powers like Vision are only really useful in like very certain situations, others such as Fireball can come in handy like all the time. It's a super great one, however it is very situational for a lot of them. My favorite is, I think after getting the last emerald, each character gets their own like unique ability, such as Sonic with the homing attack or Trip with fireballs. And I think that's probably my favorite. I like that every character has their own unique one. That's pretty fun. I'm not sure how they're going to sort of follow up this idea in the next game, however. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. They might continue this, might scrap it, who knows. When it comes to the level design, I feel most of the levels feel quite good. I don't know if they're on par with Mania's as such, however, I think they sort of work quite well. A level that stands out is probably Cyberstation, where like the pixelization, like a mechanic, I guess you want to call it, where they go through a machine and become pixelized. I think that makes for some interesting changes in like the level, and I don't know, I think it simply works a lot. However, my favorite level is probably Golden Capital. Whilst I'm not the biggest fan of the pinball parts of the level, I think the unique parts where it like mixes more like a new sort of more original aesthetic with like a ring collection like gimmick similar to like New Super Mario Bros. 2's coin collection gimmick, I guess, and like even screen rotations and stuff like that. I don't know, that sort of stuff feels quite satisfying, and I don't know, I kind of like enjoy that. Only Act 1 though. Act 2 is a little bit each level ends with some sort of boss, and to be honest, they were probably my least favorite parts of the game overall. I don't know, they're quite slow, they bring the pace of the level to a crawl. You have to like stand around and wait a lot for them to simply do something. I don't know, lots of like waiting and animations to like stand around for, and that is something that really slows the game down for me, and I don't know, it's not my favorite thing. The final bosses in particular, like the main story one, the Trip story one, and the last story, yeah, they're extremely slow as well. And like, if you lose a life on those final bosses as well, you go all the way back to the beginning of the boss, and it's very tedious, it takes forever, and yeah, to be honest, they're not my favorite things in the world. And like, I guess something else to talk about is the story, of which there is not much, to be honest. Like, there's like an opening and ending cutscene, and like a little one before the end of the last story as well. And that's about it for story. It's a little bit confusing to like know what the final outcome is going to be. And then the final boss appears suddenly out of nowhere, this dragon, which they did set up in the first cutscene. However, like, how did it happen? I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of strange. And Fang's return kind of ended up being like fairly underwhelming. I understand in the Let's Play I called him Knack a lot, and I'm used to calling him Knack, and I think I'm going to continue calling him Knack. I like calling him Knack. It's funnier. And like, all the battles against him do not feel particularly fun at all, in my opinion. Especially his like final, I guess, normal one in the main story, and his second last one in Trip's story, which is an auto-scroller, which takes forever. It literally takes way too long. However, I guess, yeah, other than that, I think the last thing to talk about is the battle mode a little bit and the character customization. To be honest, I haven't had much to do with this, and I don't think playing it much more will give me like I guess more thoughts about this for this video and everything like that. However, yeah, there's not as much to talk about as I want. I do think it's a nice addition, and I like how like the character customization, I do like it overall. However, I think it could have been done a little bit better. I find you use a lot of medals up for a lot of different things, and it is kind of a shame that you can't play as your customized character in the campaign. Oh well. The battle mode itself, yeah, it's interesting. It's like 3 rounds. Each round is different, and whoever wins, wins. I don't know. It might be something fun to do with like online on a stream or something one day. However, like, for the most part, yeah, not really much I had much to do about. However, looking at the game as a whole, whilst I do not think it is on the same level as like Mania, I did quite enjoy it overall and feel it is a fairly solid game with plenty of fun to be had. However, in saying that, I hope everybody enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I shall be back in the next one. Cheers everyone.